it out there in the world. Hello there, and divine loving greetings. Welcome back. So today's episode of Spiritually Awkward, we're going to be talking about breatharianism just for a little bit. So when you have transcended the 3D world, you will know the truth. In all of my wonderful, wonderful courses, Truthology, Lightology, Heaven and Hell, I'm teaching my students how to transcend the 3D world. It's helping them to get into a state of illumination beyond Earth's illuminated state, which means a lot of times when they say that these are universal teachings that they're putting out there, they're not. They believe the Earth to be the center of the universe at one time. So everything that everyone's learning spiritually has a lot to do with, what's going on within this reality's matrix. But going beyond that, how to reach that, what you need to do, how to expand the mind, get beyond that 3D illusion. That's what I'm trying to teach, because throughout my life, that's what I've lived, and I want to share it with others. I'm not trying to force my beliefs on anybody. I don't hold a gun to their head. I just offer the information. If they want to come, they come. This isn't a cult. This is just, people that have like-minded ideas, but they're looking to have that expanded on a bit to get to that enlightened state. Maybe through some means of understanding in terminology and symbolism that relates to them. So I do use a lot of Christianity to base my teachings on, and I do that because, Christianity is one of the biggest platforms of spiritual beliefs in the world. So a lot of people are familiar with the terminology there. So going into breatharianism, it comes with that package of illumination, because when you are still being visible here, you're still exercising the vehicle to be present here. And with that, when you've ascended, you're living on a whole other vibrational state, but you're still kind of living 1 foot out, 1 foot in, 3D and then higher vibe. So when you learn to transcend the 3D world, you don't need to follow, the laws of the 3D vibration anymore as much, not unless you want to. So that means food and sleep as well. Now, anybody, that's spent a great deal of time with me knows, my family too, that I don't eat or sleep. Now I've been, because I'm having a baby. But before, going into food, water, and having enough sleep every day, that was something that was non-existent. And it still is to some degree, but I don't want to put my baby, at risk or danger. So breatharianism is the ability to sustain life on just source energy alone. If you look around you, everything is a form of consciousness, and it's using the same nutrients and energies to grow, within themselves. So you can get those same nutrients and vitamins that you would from plants and animals, just from the energy. You just have to learn how to transmutate it. Breatharianism is very dangerous for those that are not there yet. So you just can't stop eating, can't just stop sleeping. You're gonna hurt yourself. You have to become illuminated first. But you can gain the same amount of nutrients and vitamins from source energy, instead of having to eat some living thing. So just pulling the energy down, living off of that and thriving. Because all is a vibration, all is consciousness. It is mind over matter, for all things of matter are an illusion. So breatharianism has been really wonderful for me, but I do take in a lot of energy. I'm channeling all the time. I'm walking through energy all the time. There's my family's energies, public energies, wireless energies of artificial intelligence, the natural energies of nature, spirit, and so on and so forth. So I do need to take a little more energy in order to sustain my life. But breatharianism has helped cut down on food expenses and grocery bills, because obviously I don't have to buy food for myself. I'm not going to say I don't eat at all, because I do kind of pick sometimes just to taste, just to enjoy. but I don't need it, and I don't eat like full meals, and I don't ever eat more than just maybe a little tiny little peck, once a day. And that in itself, hasn't had much of an effect on my lifestyle, but it has on my facial features. Because as you can see, if you go back in my other photographs from before, my face is a lot thinner and bonier than it used to be. And that's really, the pros of being a breatharian. But the cons of being a breatharian are that people don't understand it. They think that you have anorexia, which I don't. Also, you aren't eating anymore, so you get used to not swallowing. So when you do go to kind of taste or peck at something, it feels like you're gagging a little bit when you're trying to get that food or that water down. So that's something that I often struggle with too. Another thing is that being an angelic oracle in the breatharianism lifestyle, I'm really pulling a lot of energy in, for the channelings, but I'm also giving a lot of energy out in the healings. So I have to make sure that I'm sustaining that perfect balance of energy, through those things. So I have to make sure that I'm taking just enough energy for myself from nature and from spirit, to be able to do that. So breatharianism, it's, not really having to sustain off of physical food, but off of energy alone. And it is a very dedicated lifestyle. It's very difficult if you're trying to train to do it. And this is something that you should wait, to have it happen naturally. You'll want food less and less. You won't need as much food, over time. And then eventually you'll just forget about really needing food or sleep because you've transcended up those higher vibrational planes. So I know it sounds very crazy, but it's true. And it's something I definitely want to advise for you not to try until you get there. But that's my story. Breatharianism, I've been living that way for many, many years. And on top of that, living at a higher vibrational state, I don't have a menstruation like most women do. Also, it's hard because when you're not sleeping, you get more time out of the day, but it gets lonely, and you lose track of time. You don't know what day, month, or year it is sometimes because you're living in a whole other paradigm shift while others are still going by the same time schedule. Also, they're asleep, while you're wide awake, wanting to have attention and love. And you're looking at like your family and they're laying there in bed and you're thinking, well, get up, I want to spend time with you. I've been doing all these other things all day, and why do you have to sleep? And people will look at you like you're the Fruit Loop. They look at me like I'm the Fruit Loop. When I'm looking at them wondering, why do they need to sleep? Why do they turn their consciousness off like that? So it's really just a different life, a different outlook, a different perspective to life. And it is one that has worked a great deal for me. But I do suggest, this is something that you have to kind of come into naturally. It is very dangerous. I've had one other person that I know that looked up to me, and we never had the discussion. They just kind of tried, to live that lifestyle on their own. They stopped eating, and they really hurt themselves. They really did. And I told them, why'd you do that? You cannot model your life after somebody else's spiritual journey. But if you were going to, you should have talked to me so I could advise you and walk you through it or help you to prevent injury, to yourself. So don't try this until, you've transcended those vibrational planes. But definitely being an ascended being, you rise above the 3D world. You don't really need anything. You're just here. And the rest of your life is just kind of playing along, with the 3D world that you are kind of viewing into and being visible into for the others that are in that experience with you, while the rest of you is just totally somewhere else. And that's why a lot of people who are ascended beings, are often very invisible to other people. They don't enjoy talking with you because, the energy is too high for them. They kind of get into this trance or stare when you're talking like they're falling asleep. Because they're not hearing what you're saying. Their consciousness is trained to focus only on the program of the 3D world, and when you're going into other things, they shut down. It's like a malfunction. So it's hard for them too, but it's more hard for us because, where do we fit into everything? We become totally invisible, or people don't want to be around us anymore, because we're not on that 3D level. We don't care about those 3D things anymore. So those are the pros and cons of breatharianism and ascended energy. I love you all so very much. There's so much more to come in the future. Namaste.